She asked me for money to cover rent, then turned around and lent it to her male best friend. I just smiled. But when she came back weeks later looking for more, what she found instead ended everything. I'm the kind of guy who believes that in a relationship, you're a team. You help each other out when things get tough. At least that's what he thought until about a month ago. Now I realize that for some people, you're not a teammate. You're just a resource they haven't drained yet. My girlfriend Jenna and I had been together for about a year. We didn't live together, which was a conscious choice. I liked my space, she liked hers. It worked, or so I thought. About a month back, she called me and she was in a total panic. She was crying, saying her boss had cut her hours at the last minute, and she was going to be short on rent. She said she was about $1,200 short, and her landlord was a real jerk who didn't accept late payments. She sounded genuinely distressed. "I don't know what I'm going to do," she said between sobs. "He's going to evict me. I'm so embarrassed to even ask, but could you possibly help me out? I'll pay you back with my next 2 paychecks. I'm not made of money, but I'm careful with it. I had savings and I cared about her." The thought of her getting kicked out of her apartment made me stomach turn. Of course I was going to help. "Don't worry about it." I told her, "I've got you, we're a team, remember?" I transferred the $1,200 to her account that same day. The relief in her voice was huge. She couldn't thank me enough. I felt good about it. I felt like I'd done the right thing for someone I loved. Fast forward about a week. I was out for a beer with a mutual friend, Mark. We were just catching up when he mentioned Jenna's best friend, a guy named Leo. I was never a huge fan of Leo. He always seemed like one of those guys who never quite grew up, always chasing some get-rich-quick scheme or a new passion that required expensive gear. Mark said, "Man, Leo is lucky to have a friend like Jenna. Did you see that new camera he bought? He's been wanting it for months. Told me Jenna floated him the cash so he could finally get it. Must have been over $1,000. I just sat there holding my beer and my brain kind of short-circuited. I tried to keep my face neutral. "Oh really, that's cool. When did he get that?" Mark took a sip of his beer. "I think like last Tuesday or Wednesday. He was posting pictures with it all over his social media, the same day I sent Jenna the rent money. It all clicked into place. The soba story, the panic, the exact amount. It wasn't foreign. It was for Leo. She had played me. She took money I worked hard for. Money she claimed she desperately needed to keep a roof over her head, and handed it right over to her deadbeat best friend so he could buy a new toy. I felt a surge of anger so hot. It almost made me dizzy. But I pushed it down. I wasn't going to explode. I wasn't going to call her screaming. What good would that do? She'd just cry, make up anotherly, and turn it around on me for not trusting her. No, this required a different approach. When I saw her that weekend, I didn't say a word about it. I just smiled. She was all smiles too, telling me how her landlord was sore-leaved she paid on time. I just nodded along, listening to the lies pour out of her mouth. And in that moment, I knew we were done. The relationship was over. She just didn't know it yet. I decided right then that I was going to get my money back. Not just the money, but I was going to get the truth out in the open. She used me, and she used my trust as a weapon against me. The only way to deal with someone like that is to let him walk right into a trap of their own making. I knew as sure as I was sitting there that she'd be back for more money eventually. People like Jenna and Leo are always in a crisis. Their lives, area revolving door of self-inflicted emergencies. All I had to do was be patient and wait. And when she came back, I'd be ready. Update 1. It's been about 5 weeks since the whole rent money incident. For the past month, I've been playing a very careful game. I didn't pull away completely, but I subtly started to change the dynamic between us. When she'd suggest going out for a nice dinner, I'd say I was trying to save money and suggest we cook at home. When she'd drop hints about some new shoes she wanted, I'd conveniently change the subject. I was slowly turning off the financial tap, making myself seem less like an open wallet. I needed her to believe I was just being frugal, not that I was on to her. As it predicted, the financial problems in her life started to pile up. Without my casual funding of our dates and her constant funding of Leo's lifestyle, her budget was clearly getting tight. I could see the stress building in her. And then last Tuesday, I got the call I had been waiting for. It was Jenna, and she sounded even more frantic than last time. "You are not going to believe my luck," she started, her voice already shaky. "My car just completely died on the highway. I had to get it towed and the mechanic just called. The transmission is shot. It's going to be at least $900 to fix. I don't have it. I literally don't know how I'm going to get to work." It was almost comical. The second verse of the same song. She hit all the right notes. The sudden disaster, the specific amount of money needed, the helplessness. She finished with the line I knew was coming. "I hate to ask you again. I'm so embarrassed. But could you possibly help me out? I'm desperate." I took a breath. Showtime. "Wow, that's terrible," I said, putting just the right amount of concern in my voice. "Of course I want to help. This is serious. Come over to my place tonight around 7. We'll sit down, figure it out, and I'll write you a check." She was so relieved. She was practically crying. "Oh my God, thank you. You're literally saving my life." "Don't worry about it," I said. "That's what I'm here for." As soon as he hung up with her, I made my second call. I found Leo's number in my phone from a group chat we'd been in months ago. I sent him a text. "Hey Leo, it's Alex, Jenna's boyfriend. Quick question for you. Do you still have that camera you bought last month?" "The really nice one." He texted back a minute later. "Yeah, man. It's awesome." "Why?" I replied. "Great. I'm thinking of getting into photography and I'd love to see it. Maybe get your opinion before I buy one. Would you be able to swing by my place tonight around 7:15? I'll buy you a beer for your trouble." He jumped at the chance to show off his gear and get a free beer. "For sure, dude. See you then." The trap was set. That evening I was calm. I felt like I was watching a movie that I had written and directed. Jenna arrived, right at 7, a worried look on her face. She came in and gave me a hug. "Thank you so much for doing this. You're the best." "Of course," I said, leading her to the living room. "Have a seat. Let's talk about the car." She launched into the whole story again, adding extra details about the tow truck driver and the shady mechanic. I just nodded along, letting her dig the hole a little deeper. Right on cue. At 7:15, my doorbell rang. Jenna looked confused. "Are you expecting someone?" "Just a friend," I said, getting up to answer the door. I opened it, and there was Leo, camera bag slung over his shoulder, a big grin on his face. "Hey man, what's up?" His smile vanished the second he saw Jenna sitting on my couch. Her jaw literally dropped. The look of pure panic in Harry's was exactly what I had been waiting a month to see. I closed the door behind him. "Leo, thanks for coming." "Jenna, look who it is. What a coincidence." They both just stared at each other, then at me. They knew something was wrong. I walked back to the center of the room and looked at them both. I didn't raise my voice, I just stated the facts. "Jenna, you came here tonight because you need $900 to fix your car. That's a tough spot to be in, especially since you're still paying me back the $200 I lent you for rent last month." I paused, letting that hang in the air. "The thing is," I continued, turning to Leo. "I was talking to Leo here, and he just bought this amazing new camera, cost about $200. I think he bought it the same day you were having your rent. Emergency, Jenna." Jenna's face went white. Leo looked like he wanted the floor to swallow him whole. I kept going, my voice still perfectly level. "So I was thinking, we're all friends here. We can solve this problem together. Jenna needs money for her car. And Leo, you have the $200 that Jenna lent you, the money I lent her for rent. So the simplest solution is for you to just pay her back right now. Then she can pay the mechanic, and I don't have to lend her any more money. Everybody wins." The silence in the room was deafening. They were both completely and utterly caught. Jenna finally found her voice, and it was shaky with rage. "What is this? Did you set this up? Are you checking up on me?" "No," I said calmly. "I'm just connecting the dots. You lied to me. You took money you claimed you needed to avoid being homeless, and you gave it to your friend to buy a toy. That's not a partnership. That's not a team. That's just using me and I'm done being used. Leo started stammering. Dude, I didn't know. She told me you guys were fine with it, that you wanted to help me out. Jenna whipped her head around to look at him. You told me you were going to pay me back in a week. It was beautiful. They immediately turned on each other, the lies unraveling in real time. He was a mooch and she was a liar, and they were both furious that their little scheme had been exposed. He let them argue for another minute. Then I held up my hand. Enough. I don't care about the details of your arrangement. All I care about is that my involvement is over. Jenna, we're done. Don't call me. Don't text me. And Leo, enjoy the camera. You both deserve each other. I pointed to the door. Both of you get out of my apartment now. They left, not even looking at each other on the way out. I closed the door behind them. I felt nothing but relief. The drama, the lies, the disrespect. It was all over, and it had ended on my terms. Final update. It's been about 3 months since I kicked Jenna and Leo out of my apartment. I figured I owed you guys a final update on how everything shook out. The silence from her was immediate and absolute, but the consequences of her actions took a little longer to fully bloom. First off, after that night, I blocked her number and all of her social media accounts. I wanted a clean break, no chance for her to try and spin some new sob story. A couple of weeks later, though, I started getting texts from her friends, mostly her best friend Amy. They were all the same. Jenna is a mess. You were so cruel to her. You humiliated her. She made a mistake. You need to talk to her. I only responded to one to Amy. I wrote back. Jenna lied to me and took $1,200 under false pretenses. She prioritized her friend's new toy over her own financial security and our relationship's trust. What happened was not cruelty. It was a consequence. Please don't contact me about her again. The messages stopped after that, but the part I know you're waiting for is about the money. I wasn't going to just let $1,200 go. It wasn't about the amount. It was about the principle of the thing. She didn't just take my money. She stole my trust. So, I took a half-day off from work and went down to the county courthouse. It filed a small claims case against her for the $1,200. In the filing, I was factual. I attached a copy of the bank transfer from my account to hers. It attached a printout of the text messages where she asked for rent money and promised to pay me back. I even attached a screenshot of one of Leo's public social media posts, where he thanked an unnamed angel for the cash for his new camera posted the day after I sent the money. The evidence was straightforward. A court date was set for about a month later. She was served the papers. I honestly didn't know if she would show up. Part of me almost hoped she would just to see what kind of story she would try to tell a judge. She didn't show up. I stood there in the courtroom, presented my evidence to the judge, and because she wasn't there to contest it, I won a default judgment for the full amount, plus my court filing fees. I now had a legally binding document that said she owed me the money. Getting the money from a judgment's not always easy, but her actions made it simpler. I knew where she worked. I filed for a wage garnishment. It took a few weeks for the paperwork to go through, but then it started. A certain percentage of her paycheck was automatically sent to me, every 2 weeks until the debt was paid in full. There was nothing she could do about it. Every payday, she got a little reminder of the consequences of her lie. As for her life, I've heard bits and pieces through the grapevine. Her friendship with Leo completely imploded just as I expected. He never paid her back, and once her personal bank, me, was no longer open for business. He lost interest in being her best friend. He was a user, plain and simple. Without my help and with a chunk of her paycheck being garnished to pay me back, Jenna's financial situation got really bad. The car trouble she had invented became a real problem when she couldn't afford other repairs. That came up. About a month ago, Mark told me that she had to break her lease, pay a massive fee, and move back in with her parents in another state. So, in the end, her lie became her reality. She agreed to me about the fake threat of losing her apartment, and just a few months later, she actually did lose her apartment because of the real consequences of that lie. She lost her boyfriend, her best friend, her financial independence, and her place to live, all for a camera. I got my last garnishment payment about a week ago, the full 200 plus fees. It's not even about the money. It's about the fact that I refused to be a victim. I didn't yell. I didn't rage. I just calmly and legally held her accountable. She thought I was a pushover, an easy mark. She found out I'm not. She learned that actions have consequences, and sometimes those consequences come with court-ordered paperwork. And me, I'm doing great. My savings account is back where it should be, and my life is free of drama. Best $200 I ever spent. It was the cost of a valuable lesson and the price of getting a liar out of my life for